So today we will talk about three prophets that came after Yusha ibn Nun, and after Hizqil alayhi salam. We'll talk about Ilyas alayhi salam. We'll talk about AlYasa alayhi salam, and we will talk about Shumoeel alayhi salam. Three prophets. First, we'll talk about Ilyas alayhi salam, who came after Hizqil alayhi salam. He was from the children of Harun alayhi salam. So he goes like this. He's Ilyas, son of Yasin, son of Fakhab, son of Ya'zar, son of Harun. So between him and Harun alayhi salam, there are three people. Okay, so total five people from Ilyas to Harun. He came after Hizqil alayhi salam. There isn't much mention about him in the Quran except for in two different places in the Quran, one in Surah An'am and one in Surah Safat. So the people who have written the books on the lives of the prophets, which in Arabic is called Qasasul Anbiya, the stories of the prophet, they have looked into the Old Testament to see if we can find some information about Ilyas alayhi salam. And in Old Testament, in Bible, he is by the name of Elia. And his name comes twice in the Quran. In his life history, we know that after Musa alayhi salam, the children of Israel flourished and they became strong, but then they stopped worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they went into idol worshiping. That's when their decline happened, and the prophets started coming again, but preaching them to come to worshiping only one God. These were the times when Ilyas alayhi salam was born. In current day, in modern times, the country of Jordan, there was a place in Jordan called Gil'ad. This was the part of one of the kingdoms of the children of Israel. The name of the kingdom was Israel, and it was ruled by a person called Achiab. In Arabic, his name is Ajab or Achab, but in Bible, it's Achiab. This guy was an idol worshiper. His wife was idol worshiper, and so were majority of the people in the kingdom. They used to worship a god by the name of Baal. Baal was the name of the god that they used to worship. So Ilyas alayhi salam started calling them towards worshipping one God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and told them that idol worshipping is prohibited in Islam and they must worship only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everybody in the kingdom turned against him except for very few people who wanted to support him. Then the king and the queen, one day they said we should kill Ilyas alayhi salam. So they started plotting against him, how to kill him. So this information was told to Ilyas alayhi salam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through an angel. So Ilyas alayhi salam left the kingdom and went in the mountains. And he hid in a cave. Nobody knew where Ilyas alayhi salam went. Day after day, time passed. And then after a few months, the rain stopped in the kingdom of Israel. And there was a serious drought. Drought is when nothing grows. All the farms are dead. All the fields are dead. No fruits are coming in. So there was a serious problem of drought followed by a famine. And everybody is like, what's going on? So they went to their god Baal and they started praying and worshiping to Baal, but no difference. So those people who believed in Ilyas alayhi salam, they said, well, why don't we approach Ilyas alayhi salam and try to find him? Maybe he can make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the rain can come. So they started going in search for Ilyas alayhi salam, but nobody knew where he was. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel to Ilyas alayhi salam and told him that it is now time for you to come out of the cave and go to the kingdom and meet the king. So Ilyas alayhi salam went to the king that I told you, Achiab was his name. And he went in his court, and this time the king was very scared. He was very worried because everybody was on the very close to dying of no food. So he didn't say anything to Ilyas alayhi salam, and he said, Ilyas, what can you do for us? Ilyas alayhi salam said, okay, why don't you all believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, well, but we worship Baal. We cannot believe in only Allah. Baal does things for us. Ilyas alayhi salam said, okay, let's do a test. You say that Baal has 400 prophets. Call all 400 prophets and make them pray to Baal, make them slaughter an animal, sacrifice an animal in the name of Baal, and make dua to Baal and see if it rains. If it doesn't rain, then I will come. I will sacrifice an animal in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if that animal is accepted, that means I'm true. And then the king was like, okay, how will we know if the animal is accepted? He said, well, in the children of Israel, from the times of Adam alayhi salam, a lightning would strike from the heavens, from the sky, on anything that is accepted and will burn it. And if the lightning leaves it alone, that means it's not accepted. So the 400 guys gathered around the Baal. They started making their whatever praise, and then they slaughtered an animal in the name of the false god. And then they said, oh, rain, rain, rain. Nothing happened. The whole day went past, not a single drop of rain. Next time, Sayyidina Ilyas alayhi salam came. He slaughtered an animal in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lightning came and struck the animal and burned it as it is accepted. And then soon rain came. Rain, so much rain that all the drought was over. All the fields and the farms got enough water, all the streams are running again, the rivers are flowing. And now Ilyas alayhi salam told these people, accept Islam. But the followers of Baal, all these 400 fake prophets, they refused. So then they were all killed. All of them, all 400 of them were taken to a valley of Qaythun and they were killed. Now, king was asked to worship Allah alone. The king and his wife said, nope, we will still worship Baal. And we will kill you, Ilyas. When things got better with them, they're like, we will kill you, Ilyas. So Ilyas alayhi salam this time left the kingdom and he went to the kingdom next door, the kingdom of Yehuda. There were two big kingdoms of the children of Israel. One was Israel and one was Yehuda. He went to the kingdom of Yehuda. And he started noticing that they are also worshiping Baal. They're also idol worshippers. So he started calling them to Islam and they wouldn't listen. The king turned against Ilyas alayhi salam. And Ilyas alayhi salam said, okay, I am the messenger of God. I will foretell you something because Allah has told me that very soon your king will die. And that's what happened. Their king died in a few days. And he said, I am the messenger of God. Allah told me, so I've told you, believe in me. They said, we are not believing in you. So he left them and then he went back to his old kingdom. This time, the king, Achiab, and also had a son, Akhtariyah. They both were in power. And now the prince, who actually grew up to be a young man, also became an idol worshiper. And they were trying their level best to spread idol worshiping all over the kingdom. Ilyas alayhi salam continued to preach them, but they would not listen until Ilyas alayhi salam passed away. When Ilyas alayhi salam was older, when he came back in those times, in his family, there was another gentleman by the name of AlYasa. AlYasa is also mentioned only twice in Quran. He's a prophet. He's only briefly mentioned once in Surah Al-An'am and in Surah Sad. AlYasa was born by this time, and AlYasa was in the company of Ilyas alayhi salam till Ilyas alayhi salam passed away, and AlYasa became the prophet. And then AlYasa continued to call people towards Islam till he passed away. We don't know much about AlYasa alayhi salam, except for that he was after Ilyas alayhi salam. He's related to Ilyas alayhi salam, and he continued preaching people to Islam. But now something very bad happened. All the children of Israel were very weak, small kingdoms. They were ruled by some chiefs. They were so weak, and they were not even united. They used to fight with each other all the time. So the kings around them, they started attacking them. So there was a king from Palestine, from the people of Amalek, who lost power after Musa alayhi salam, but after 350 years of Musa alayhi salam, they became so powerful, they attacked again, and they took the special chest. Do you understand? Chest, a big wooden box. In that wooden box, it was the staff of Musa alayhi salam. The original Torah was there. The clothes of Harun alayhi salam were there. This chest was very, very dear to the children of Israel. They used to protect it all the time. To them, it was like, these are the belongings of the prophets. They took that chest from them, and they put it inside a temple. That temple we'll call the temple of the god Jadun, the Beit Jadun in Palestine. You know how their god looked like? It was half human and half fish. That's what they used to pray to. That was one of their biggest gods. This was the people of Amalek. They were idol worshippers, and they used to worship this idol. So what happened after that was that children of Israel were getting attacked left and right. And soon in the north, very close to Palestine and Egypt, a new king by the name of Jalut came into existence. And Jalut attacked them again and destroyed their kingdoms, killed their chiefs, put a lot of people in prison, and took them as slaves back to his homeland. These were the times that the children of Israel had no king, strong king I'm talking about, no strong king. They had prophets, but they didn't have the kings. So at this time, a boy was born by the name of Shumoeel or Samuel. This was the time that the children of Israel has lost all written versions of Torah. The only version of Torah that they had, their holy book, was the people who memorized it by heart. So when Shumoeel alayhi salam was still a young boy, his dad passed away. His mom took him to one of the teachers who was Hafiz of Torah. And he was under him. He learned the entire Torah by heart. When he grew up, he was given a revelation as a prophet. He came to the people, and people used to respect him a lot. But even in his times, the children of Israel were continuously getting destroyed left and right. So one day, all the 12 tribes chiefs got together, and they came to Shumoeel alayhi salam and said, Shumoeel, you are the prophet of God. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he must give us a king. And Shumoeel alayhi salam was like, why do you want a king? He said, so that we can fight under one flag and not under 12 flags. And we will fight against the Jalut, and we will defeat him, and we will bring what is lost of ours. Shumoeel alayhi salam knew that these people have not fought an enemy together for centuries. They don't know how to fight. He said, you guys are cowards. Even if a king comes, you will refuse to fight. They said, no, why would we refuse to fight? This is all in Surah Al-Baqarah, what I'm talking about now. So he said that, okay, I'll pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but what if you refuse? He said, no, we won't refuse. We lost our sons as slaves. We will want to bring them back home. We want to defeat the enemy. Shumoeel alayhi salam made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel and said that Allah has chosen a new king for all the tribes of children of Israel. That man is Talut. Shumoeel alayhi salam called all the chiefs and said, Allah has ordered a new king for you. He is Talut. Now the king said, no, we cannot accept Talut. No way. He said, why? He said, because he is a poor man. Remember, Allah sends all the prophets from the sons of Yehuda and from the house of Lavi. How can we accept a man from the house of Binyamin to become king over us? Allah doesn't send any king from Binyamin's children. But Shumoeel alayhi salam said, look at him. He's strong. He's mighty. Look at your enemy's king. You need somebody strong and mighty to fight somebody strong and mighty. Look at Talut. He's more knowledgeable than you. He's poor. What's the big deal? Once he becomes king, he will be rich. And they're like, no. Show us a sign. Show us a sign that we should accept him. He said, okay. What about miraculously, if you get your wooden chest back that has all the belongings of Musa and Harun and Torah, without fighting, without shedding a single drop of blood, you will get it. What will you going to accept him now? He said, yeah. If that happens, we will accept him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a special arrangement. What happened was that the temple where they kept the chest, there was a serious illness all over the city. And the priests, they said finally that it is all because of the chest. Let's move the chest to another city. They had 5 cities. As soon as the chest was moved to another city, all the sickness was gone. But all the sickness went to the other city. They said, oh, something is wrong with the chest. They moved it to another city. Whichever city they will take the chest to, that city people will start falling sick. Finally, they said, let's get rid of the chest. What does it has? A staff, clothes, some scripture. What do we have to do with any of this? There is no gold or silver or diamond in the chest. So what they did, they took 2 oxes and they attached a cart to it. They put the chest on the cart and they took the oxes outside the city limits and they let them go free. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the angels to take charge of the oxes and move them in the direction that they will actually go and stop at the door of Talut. That's what happened in the morning when everybody woke up. They noticed that there are 2 oxes with a cart, with a chest by the door of Talut. And then Shumoeel alayhi salam said, see, Allah has brought you back your chest. Do you now accept Talut as your king? They said, yeah, we now accept him as our king. That's fine. He justifies himself to be our king. And now Talut said, let's march and take our land back. Let's free our sons because they are slaves. So they built this massive army from 12 tribes and they start marching towards the army of Jalut. So Talut is the general and the king of the Muslim army, and Jalut is the king and the general of the enemy army. Now, Talut wanted to test the Muslims to see if they really are obedient or are they not. Will they run away from the battlefield? So he said, I have a test for you. You are all very thirsty, and this is the only water that you see in front of you in this pond or whatever it was, stream. If you drink a little bit of it only to quench your thirst, that means you are with me. But if you do not follow my commands and drink more than a few sips, then you are not following my commands and you have no right to stay in my army. most of the people drank glasses after glasses after glasses of water. The stomach was filled with water. Only a few of them, there were like 313 people that only drank a little bit just to quench their thirst. Then they went past that stream of water. There was another stream of water. Talut said, you can now drink however much you want from this one. So everybody drank however much they could. But those who drank a lot of water before, they're like, oh, we're tired. And now they saw this massive army of Jalut. And now the people who drank so much water, they were the one who started feeling scared. They're like, oh, we can't fight. We don't want to die. Let us go back. So Talut said, okay, go back. So thousands and thousands of men left. Only 313 were left. And now they are in front of this big army of Jalut, the Goliath, as we say in English, Goliath. And now Goliath is standing tall. Some people say it was like 8 feet tall. He was massive, big man. He said, come on, who will dare to fight me? Nobody will move. There was a young boy, like 13, 14 years old, maybe 15, thin boy, not even strong. His mom said, go and look as to what's going on in the battlefield. Your dad and your brothers are participating in the war. So he was just over there to see how his dad and brothers are doing. And he noticed this big, massive guy continuously comes forward and said, who will fight me? And nobody dares to fight him. So he goes to the King Talut and said, give me permission. I want to fight him. And Talut looked at him and said, you're just 14, 15-year-old kid. You're lean. You have never fought a battle. How can you defeat this massive guy? He said, let me go, please. So Talut said, okay, take my armor. And anybody who kills the Goliath, I will marry my daughter to him. So this boy started walking with this armor and said, this is heavy. He took off the armor. He took off the armor. He said, I will go and fight him without an armor. He goes in the battlefield and Goliath is looking at him as like, you will kill me. I will kill you in a snap. And this boy takes out his slingshot, puts in a rock in it, boom, hits it on the head of Talut, and Talut is all shook up. It's like, ooh, what happened to me? His crown fell off. He took the second one and hit him on his head again, took the third one and hit him on his head again, and Talut and Jalut is on the ground. The Goliath is on the ground, dead. And the army is like, oh, the king died. The king died. They started running in all directions and they were defeated. And who was this young boy? That was Prophet Dawood alayhi salam. That was when he was a teenager. And then when he grew up a little bit, he got married to Talut's daughter, the king of the Muslims. And when Talut passed away, Dawood alayhi salam became the king of the children of Israel. So these are the 3 stories we talked about today. The story of Ilyas alayhi salam, the story of AlYasa, and story of Shumoeel alayhi salam. So when Dawood alayhi salam was still a teenager, Shumoeel alayhi salam also passed away. And then Dawood alayhi salam became the prophet. So next time, we will start with the story of Dawood alayhi salam, okay? And that will be our story for the next time.